Hey there and welcome. Today, we are going to tackle a topic that can feel, a little overwhelming at first, but it's the absolute key to unlocking some incredible new experiences, applying for a visa.
Yeah, if you've ever even thought about traveling internationally, you know the paperwork can look, well, a little crazy. It's a formal process, for sure, and it's totally normal to feel kind of lost when you first start looking at it.
But that's exactly where we come in. The whole point here is to demystify this entire thing. We're going to take that big, confusing mountain of information and turn it into a simple, step-by-step guide you can actually follow. Okay? Let's get into it. All right, first things first. Before we can get into the how-to, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page with the what. Let's start with the absolute fundamentals.
So, what is a visa, really? When you boil it all down, it's just official permission. It's a document, usually a sticker or a stamp, right inside your passport that says another country has checked you out and agrees to let you visit for a specific reason and for a set amount of time.
And this is where it gets pretty interesting, right? Why do these even exist? I mean, they're not just there to create paperwork. Visas are how a country tries to manage who comes in and out. It's about security, making sure visitors are coming for legitimate reasons. It's about control, and it's also about regulating activities like working or studying abroad.
And that brings us to all the different kinds of visas. Now, the names might change a bit depending on the country, but the purpose is always the most important thing. You've got your tourist visas, student visas, work visas. The single most important thing you can do is pick the one that perfectly matches why you're traveling. Seriously, applying for the wrong one is a super common mistake.
Okay, basics are covered. Now for the main event, the actual application journey. Let's think of this as your personal roadmap to get from start to finish without getting lost.
Here are the 5 big stages you'll go through. It all starts with choosing the right visa type, which we just talked about. Then comes the application form. And listen, I can't say this enough. Accuracy is everything. Even a tiny typo can cause huge delays. After that, you'll gather your documents, pay your fees, and finally attend that interview. See? Each step just builds right on the last one.
Let's zoom in a little on step 3, the documents. This is where you really need to be on your A game. Of course, you'll need your passport and the application form, but you'll also likely need recent photos, bank statements to prove you can support yourself, and maybe even an invitation letter or a full travel plan. Hey, here's a little pro tip for you. Get a folder, organize everything neatly. It just shows you're serious and prepared, and that always helps. Okay, let's talk about what's probably the most nerve-wracking part for a lot of people, the interview. But don't worry. Our goal here is to make sure you walk in there feeling totally prepared and confident. So, you've done all the work, your appointment is booked, and now you're thinking, what on earth are they going to ask me? Well, while every single interview is a little different, they almost always circle back to 3 main ideas. Let's break those down.
This is probably going to be one of the first things you hear. And the key here is to be super specific and confident. So, don't just say tourism. No, try something like, I'm going for a 2-week trip to see the national parks in Utah and Arizona, and I actually have my hotel and car reservations right here. See? That kind of detail and honesty is exactly what they want to hear.
Next up, they're going to ask about how long you plan to stay. This sounds simple, but it's really a test. They're checking for consistency. Your answer here has to match up perfectly with the dates on your application, your flight bookings, everything. If you hesitate or give a different answer, that can be a big red flag.
And now we get to what many people say is the absolute most important question of the whole interview. See, a visa officer's main job is to figure out if there's a risk you might not leave their country. So this question, this is your big chance to prove you have strong reasons to go back home.
So what exactly are ties? This slide has a perfect way of thinking about it. Imagine a bunch of strong ropes connecting you to your life back home. These are the things, your job, your family, your finances, that will pull you back. They prove that returning home is a sure thing, not just a maybe.
And here are some real-world examples of those ropes. But look, don't just rattle off a list. You want to weave them into your story. Instead of just saying, I have a job and family, try something like, I have to be back by the 15th for a huge project presentation at work, plus my son has his big soccer championship that weekend. That paints a really clear, believable picture.
All right, we've been through the whole process, the interview. Now let's wrap this up with some super practical tips to make sure it all goes as smoothly as possible for you.
These 5 tips right here,
These are golden. Start early, follow the instructions to the letter, keep copies of everything, and try to be patient. But I want to pause for a second on honesty. Seriously, consular officers are trained pros at spotting when something's off. A little white lie could get you not just a rejection, but banned from the country for years, maybe even for life. It is never, ever worth it.
Finally, let's talk about the common roadblocks people hit. The number one mistake? Incomplete paperwork. The fix is so simple. Just triple check the official list from the embassy. Worried about how long it'll take? Just apply way in advance. And hey, if you do get rejected, it's not always the end of the world. Often, it's because you didn't prove strong enough ties. If they give you a reason, you can work on fixing that specific problem before you try again.
So as we're wrapping up, I really want you to think about this. After all the forms and all the waiting, it's so easy to get bogged down and see the visa as, well, a chore. But it's so much more than that. It's your key. It's the thing that unlocks new cultures, new people, and brand new opportunities.
Look, if you're careful and honest, you can absolutely do this. By following these steps, you can turn this whole thing from something stressful into a total success. So really, the only question left is, where's your journey going to take you?